Hi, join me as I have a first look at the TM7. I mean, how cool does that look? Huge screen, I've just switched on. That little silver button at the bottom is what you press to fire up. And you'll hear it sound, chimes are exactly the same as, pretty similar to what we've always had. Anyway, it's going to connect the internet. And it's just a good thing. You can customise that front screen to put things that you like on it. And no, we're not going to run the updates, so we'll get rid of that. Okay, so what we have down the sides is a whole heap of options. Bottom one is where we find settings and things. We've also got cookie do. That one I'm pressing, which looks like a blade, is for the modes. So, we've got some new ones here. Manual browning. Anyone who has a TM6 will appreciate this. Instead of having to bring up a cookie do recipe to do your browning, you can now manually do it. And what else have we got? We have rice cooker, which is what we had in the TM6 as well. It was me just figuring out whether or not there's actually any movement on that screen or if it's just a static picture. And we look at the notes for the help. It's very clear now what you need to do. And it explains, you put your rice in, the correct ratio of water, and then you press, see the green button on the bottom right? That's a start button or a go for starting the function. What else? We have some interesting things there we haven't had before, like steaming, and here's the egg boiler. How cool is this now? Instead of guessing which one you want, you just have a look at the colour of the yolk and that's your mode that you use. And sous vide. Again, we have some helpful instructions if we press the information button. And we'll go back. And back onto the home screen. Have a look. This is what cookie do looks like. So nice and big and colourful. Back into our modes. We have up there manual cooking. So this is your time, temperature and speed. Instead of having dials, we now have selections, and we do have some quick selects. So if you want just 5, 10, 15 minutes, you just press one of those, or you can slide and get the one you want. The reset will zero it again. So this is the one that's very exciting. This is your open lid cooking. It's pretty much turning your Thermomix into a saucepan. So as long as it's below 100 degrees, you can cook with the lid off, the blades don't turn, and I think there's all sorts of things that would be really useful. Now, again, another way to get to manual mode. This is from the front screen. We have manual mode. Look over here. This is our scales. So again, I'm just touching the aroma on the top, and you can see how sensitive they are. We have a tear button as well to zero things off. One thing I did learn about it, when you're actually in a recipe and there's multiple items to go in, it brings it all up on the one screen, so and it tears in between, which is really nice. Instead of having to keep hitting the next button, you just have the one screen for that. Now, here we are having a look at, that's the new spatula, look how big that is. And then on the end, we have a little indentation. That's for when you want to get dough out of your jug, you turn your jug upside down and normally you twist the blades. Now you can actually put your spatula on, give that a turn, and it'll help it come out. And now, look at the Varoma. Look at the size of that's the Varoma tray. And then we've got the Varoma dish. It's much bigger than what we used to. It's rectangular. It looks really nice. It's designed so if you really want to, you can pop it on the table to serve up out of it. It's very elegant. So, instead of an MC, we now have a little cap that sits on top. That's so we don't need to put the simmering basket on top anymore, or a spatter guard, or anything like that. It just lets steam out, but you can't put anything in. So no longer can you put food in, but you can still put things like oil in if you're making mayonnaise, that sort of stuff through there. Now, we just lift the jug up. It's the first time I've handled the jug. It looks inside like regular. On the side here, this little lever. Now, I'm just going to adjust the camera so that we can have it look properly. Ah, there we go. Look how big the spatula is. It does almost the whole jug in one go. Really nice. So, you put the jug down, adjust the camera. There we go. We're going to have a look at this. I'm going to see if I can get the inside out. So, there we go. We just slide that to the side. The blade lifts straight out. And then the inner jug, notice there's no handle. The handle is attached to the outer. That comes out. It still has your pins and everything on the bottom for the heating element, that sort of stuff. But it's two separate units. Now, and put it back together. Just slide that in. Drop the blade in. And we're going to flick the switch back to the other side. Doesn't require much effort at all. This is so much easier than how we've always got blades out in the past. Did you notice how neat and tidy that base is? When there's no jug on top, that is just such a discreet little unit sitting there. So, really cool. Butterfly, very similar to what we have now. These things like the butterfly and the blades are interchangeable in your TM6. So if you already have a TM6 you're planning on keeping it, you can use some of these bits and pieces in your TM6. Okay? The lid is held on with really strong magnets, so as soon as you hit go on a recipe, it actually locks everything in place. Simmering basket, looks similar, slightly different design in the lid, as you can see. But again, that's something we're familiar with. There we go, pop the lid down and pop the Varoma on top. How neat is that new little design? It's very different. Okay, now I've found on the screen there's a whole heap of things like tutorials so that you can learn how to use it. This particular one I chose is sort of a how to do cookie dough, how to use filters. So it's pretty handy having those on the screen. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So I'm pretty impressed with the TM7. Now that I've actually handled it, some of the new little features are really quite good. So thanks for joining me.